I support.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I support the Finance Bill 2021, and this is in consistence with the court ruling. I'm sure Honorable Bandi and Honorable Kimunya and many who are in this House, they will agree with me that the Finance Bill used to be debated and approved in the month of September. But because the court said, and they have changed through a court ruling the processing of the Finance Bill in the Excise Duty, in Tax Procedure Act, in miscellaneous levies and taxes, it touches on the Capital Market Authority. And Mr. Speaker, if you allow me tomorrow, I will have my say on this Capital Market Authority as a regulator, because they are the eyes and the ears of investors. They are supposed to create and maintain and regulate capital markets in line with Section 11(1)(d) of the Capital Markets Act, that any investor who issues securities which are traded under their supervision must be fair. And Mr. Speaker, it's tomorrow that I will ask the House, through you, that the matter of investors, Kenyan investors losing under the watch of the regulator be discussed. Mr. Speaker, let me just look at the summary. Of course, my colleagues, the chair has spoken about this infrastructure bond, in which the bill, clause 2, is being redefined, the definition of what is an infrastructure bond. And this amendment aims at clarifying that only interest on income from infrastructure bonds for the maturity of a certain period of time, and it says 3 years, will be exempted from income tax. I think this is an important aspect in terms of financing our infrastructure facility, whether it is in health, in water, in roads, in energy. Mr. Speaker, let me look at the expansion of the tax rebate for the apprenticeship of the technical and vocational college graduates. And I don't know why the chair wants to amend it to 5 persons. Because clause 10 of the bill, Mr. Speaker, says that an employer who hires at least technical and vocational education training students for a period of either 6 months to 1 year will get that tax rebate. So I think I will ask the chair of the committee, let us leave at that 10, so that more students are hired. I think in the law that we passed, maybe 2 years ago, it was at least 10 university students. So for university students, it is 10. So let us maintain the 10. And this is a great news, Mr. Speaker, to students graduating from our technical and vocational institutions in which this government has invested. Mr. Speaker, there is something in this bill, a move towards private electricity companies. This bill in clause 2, in clause 12, subclause E, proposes to remove the current requirement, because there's a current requirement that electricity has to be supplied to the national grid for generations of the same that will fall under the definition of manufacture. You manufacture electricity and you sell it and you use the national grid as the infrastructure that will be used. And this is, under the bill now, under 12E, it becomes a prerequisite, a condition to qualify for investment deduction on a number of issues that you need for an investor to put in, either on equipment, on machinery, on the buildings that are used in the manufacture of this power. Speaker, in my opinion, this amendment is that any person, you know now the interpretation, any person investing in electricity generation for private business, and there are people who do it, you know, big companies that consume 2, 3, 4, 5 megawatts, they can manufacture their own electricity for private business use, or there are people who sell to persons of their choice. I can manufacture and sell to Honorable Bandi, who's my neighbor, Honorable KJ. So that is what 12E is more specific about. And they will now qualify, what the bill is saying, they will qualify for investment reduction on cost. This is likely to open, Mr. Speaker, a window for licensing of private electricity companies. And this amendment, Mr. Speaker, we need to support it, because it will also reduce these monopolistic tendencies of Kenya Power and Lighting. Because if there are investors who can supply power to a certain locality, of course now we have off-grid, then I think we must support it so that the Kenya Power Company can either compete competitively. Mr. Speaker, the thing that I cannot imagine, and Honorable Bandi has talked about, is on scrapping of the pre-approval of VAT regulation by the National Assembly. Speaker, this touches on the core of the constitutional principle of separation of powers. The minister cannot sit in the executive and wants to perform powers in the legislature. Speaker, that we should not allow it. And even if the president returns it with a veto power, I want to urge my colleagues, let us raise the 2/3 number to reject that veto. Because every arm of government, the Constitution has donated powers to every arm of the 3 arms of government. Nobody should become a squatter. Nobody should steal. Nobody should. And the Speaker, this is a very dangerous, that the minister can sit in his boardroom and vary VAT on various items without a recourse to this House. The Speaker, the National Assembly will be guilty, and this House will go into record of abdicating their constitutional duty by allowing any other person, including the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, to impose any form of taxation, levies, and fees on the people we represent. The Speaker, this is an affront on the separation of powers, and we, as members of this House, we must protect what the Constitution has given us. So, Speaker, of course, the imposition of 16% on VAT on bread, basically, from exempt to zero rating, is that bread will be now charged 16%. Speaker, under these COVID conditions, bread is a basic food. And Mr. Speaker, this proposal is to subject ordinary bread to VAT. Is likely to affect ordinary citizens. Mr. Speaker, finally, the abolition on amnesty on tax on rentals. This amendment implies that any property owner who wants to claim amnesty on rental will rely on Section 37D, the Tax Procedure Act. The Speaker.
Member for Kisumu East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the appropriation bill that we just passed specifies the quantum